Can a video game let the player experience an indescribable concept like infinity? Well, I think so, and I think Manifold Garden does this beautifully. In the game, you traverse the spaces by changing gravity. The colour of the floor changes as well to help the player orientate. The game also features a world which repeats infinitely in every direction. In his 2016 game design conference, William Scheer said this about his game.
It's a first-person exploration puzzle game. It has unusual physics and crazy architecture.
Scheer claims that his game lets the player experience the shape of the universe. While his background is in physics, this is a video about video games. Games, like all art forms, create experiences and emotions as opposed to scientific definitions. When I say infinity or the universe, all I really mean is something so big that the effect on you has a wonderful quality that affects you deeply. Immanuel Kant called this quality the sublime and thought that it was a way of experiencing infinity. I will analyse depictions of infinity from around the world in relation to his theory. I will argue that video games are perhaps the best medium for experiencing this quality because of their interactivity. Finally, I will present recent scientific theories on the shape of the universe, which will tie in to Manifold Garden's underlying theme of nature and humanity. Immanuel Kant thought that one way of experiencing infinity was through artworks. He divided these experiences into the mathematically sublime and the dynamically sublime. The mathematically sublime is what appears infinitely vast in size or number, and the dynamically sublime is what appears infinitely vast in power. The mathematically sublime is like the infinite expanse of the universe. William Scheer cites inspirations like the manga Blaine, with its sense of scale characterized by massive horizons in interior areas. Scheer was also inspired by brutalist architecture, with gigantic monolithic megastructures adding a spatial logic to the game. Indian stepwells inspired other game spaces. These triangular patterns repeat into infinity, creating a powerful sense of scale. The dynamically sublime is what appears infinitely powerful. This sublime feeling can be found in the dynamic elements of the game, like these recurring thunderstorms. The music is also sublime, and its composer, Larissa Okada, claimed she aimed to bring an infinite vastness to the sound design. She uses the minor scale to dramatic effect, and likely used effects like reverb to make the soundscape feel vast, as if played from within an echoing chasm. Immanuel Kant thought that a painting of a thunderstorm would give the viewer sublime feelings because they fear nature's power and are reminded of their own mortality. Only humans could make a painting of a thunderstorm, or art in general. Your pet cat would not have sublime feelings because it lacks the rationality to realize it's a painting of a thunderstorm. Kant thought that these experiences were still pleasurable because they reveal the awesome power of our mental faculty to conceive of ideas like infinity. So the actual source of the sublime was human reason, not the artwork being seen. Kant's theory is rooted in Western philosophical ideas that emphasize individualism and the separation of mind and nature. Coinciding with the development of the scientific method, linear perspective allowed for a systematic approach to representing the world. This epistemological way of representing space puts human reason at the center. Both linear perspective and the scientific method reinforce a distinction between the observer, humanity, and the observed, nature. This creates a sense of separation where humans are seen as distinct from and often superior to the natural world. Western depictions of infinity depict vast or impossible spaces. These depictions contrast humanity with an infinitely vast universe. So the infinitely repeating spaces in Manifold Garden might give me, a Westerner, feelings of infinity. Non-Western audiences might expect infinity to be described through symbolism, emphasizing the harmony between humanity and nature. Non-Western depictions of infinity use symbolism and metaphor. They compare humanity to an eternal universe, representing progressively repeating cycles, and humanity as interconnected with nature. Mandalas represent the universe and humanity's journey within it. Yin and Yang describes an opposite but interconnected, self-perpetuating cycle. The Ouroboros represents an eternal cycle of creation and destruction. As a slight side note, William Scheer cites these inspirations for his game. When Escher actually tried to paint infinity, it looked much more like these Eastern depictions. He represents the forces of good and evil, the interconnectivity of humanity and nature, and the eternal cycle of creator and creation. While perspective depicts our experience of space, symbolism can represent our experience of time. The space we occupy is finite, however, our creations can exist for indefinite amounts of time. Some of the artworks I've shown you thus far have existed for hundreds of years. While these artworks depict vast spaces, the true source of their sublimity is found by understanding how far humanity has come on its eternal quest to represent and understand the universe. The central theme of Manifold Garden is creation, completing puzzles to bring nature to a geometric world. This is the garden part of Manifold Garden. The spaces are bland and brutalist, but after the placement of each god cube, colourful geometric patterns appear akin to a Hindu mandala. Gradually, you turn the stark, brutal geometry into a garden, unifying nature and architecture. After the completion of the final puzzle, structures grow instead of a garden, showing the interconnectivity of humanity and nature. Shear said that he wanted his game to be inspired by architecture. Architecture, like any human creation, can connect us with time. Seeing an ancient building reminds us of the power of human creations to last for generations. Equally, nature can make us feel connected to something ancient and greater than ourselves. Playing Manifold Garden, you feel connected to the transcendental as you explore the spaces and marvel at the wonderful creations. The music incorporates nature sounds and human voices, representing the interconnectivity of humanity and nature. We can quite literally hear the composer's voice in the music, feeling the presence of its creator. Within the music track titles, we see references to ancestry, gods, colossi, but also game design, like ray marching, and art in general, like formal properties or mise en abîme. In the game spaces, we see gigantic cogs and gears, hinting that these impossible spaces were made by someone. And they were, of course, made by someone. All artworks are. Manifold Garden is unique in that you are the creator. The power of your mental faculty to solve puzzles brings meaning to the world. The repeating spaces in Manifold Garden don't give us sublime feelings because we see how small we are compared to infinity, but instead show us our infinite power to change those spaces over time. Scientist Sarah Walker says that the universe is much larger in time than in space. Time is constantly bifurcating and it's generating new structures. This is the concept of phylogeny. If we could see time, we could see everything an object has been, and all the steps required to create it. Because of its complexity, the global integration of life and technology on this planet will be one of the largest things in this universe. This is why we have such an ability to abstract. If she's right, then we can revisit Kant's theories from a different perspective. Kant thought that only an infinite mental faculty could conceive of the idea of infinity. He thought that the source of sublime experiences was the power of human reason to think of abstract ideas like infinity. So, to combine Kant and Walker's theories, sublimity is felt when an artwork or idea reveals the amount of abstraction we are capable of, and so reveals the scale of the human experience in time. Escher does this by depicting impossible spaces, and Manifold Garden does this by forcing the player to complete puzzles in a universe with different laws of physics. As players bring life to the world of Manifold Garden, they are reminded of their cognitive power to understand and change the spaces. The player is tasked with bringing colour and life to a bleak universe. In the same way, human reasoning brings meaning to the world. Through the scientific method, we can understand the puzzles of the universe. We are the only atoms that know we're atoms. So, us understanding the universe is just the universe understanding itself. Along the way, it makes buildings and video games and paintings of thunderstorms. Some of these creations give us sublime feelings because they remind us of our impermanence, but they also make us feel powerful because they show the vastness of human creativity. Humanity is unique in that we can create artworks and solve puzzles. However, we also have a natural instinct to explore. Manifold Garden is an exploration puzzle game, so there are challenges to complete, but also opportunities to just exist. So the point is to be infinite, but also just to be. It's safe to say Immanuel Kant did not consider Sarah Walker while developing his theory of the sublime. Sarah Walker, however, was likely influenced in some way by Kant. He died in 1804. William Shear, Sarah Walker, and myself will, unfortunately, also die. While I'm not suggesting my work holds a candle to theirs, the cross-pollination of our ideas lives on through creations like this video. While these ideas might make your brain hurt, that's how you know you have one. Can a video game let the player experience an indescribable concept like infinity? It's hard to say, as it's hard to describe an indescribable concept. It was tautology to try and express the inexpressible. All I can hope is that you have seen your ability to abstract. Abstraction allows you to understand the laws of physics in Manifold Garden, and by testing the limits, you get a wonderful feeling. Does Manifold Garden let you experience infinity? Yes. It has a conglomerate of sublime art forms within it, like dynamically powerful thunderstorms and mathematically vast spaces. Would everybody say so? Probably. Manifold Garden symbolizes the interconnectivity of humanity and nature, a global metaphor which connects us with time. Is it a better experience than other art forms? This is probably a matter of taste, but video games do offer unique possibilities. In painting, theatre, or film, the audience is separate from the action. In a video game, you are part of the performance. Your actions directly impact the world, showing the power of your mental faculty to change the spaces. Do we understand the universe better after playing it? I think there's a difference between understanding and experiencing. Understanding the universe is humanity's mission. Experiencing infinity happens when we see how far we've come. While these concepts are difficult to understand, their effect on our emotions is undeniable. Through the struggle to understand Manifold Garden, the player can experience sublimity. If it was easy to understand, then it wouldn't be much of a puzzle game. In the challenge of understanding the spaces, you can fill them with colour and vibrancy. The responsibility is daunting, but through the beauty of our creations, we can add to the infinite quest to understand the universe. If you found this video helpful, maybe like it or subscribe. I don't know. That helps me out a lot. So thanks if you do, and no worries if you don't. Bye.